Giddy up, partner. It's all four of us, plus Chris, back for episode 2 of Retro Repair Roundup. How we all doing tonight? We doing good? We all have our hats on?
Just fine, partner.
Thanks for everybody who stopped by tonight to watch the stream. We got about 12 or 15 of you. Thank you for stopping in. Remember to smash the like button, or as we say, lasso that like button. If you're not subscribed, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you know when we're going live again. But as always, Sundays, every second one, 8 p.m. So tonight we've got Chris Torrence of the Assembly Lines podcast, an Apple II staple, here to chat fixing old computers with us. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Well,
fixing stuff and fixing stuff.
Excellent.
I'm fixing more stuff.
I'm breaking stuff too.
That's right.
You gotta have something to fix, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, it's great to be here.
We are very glad to have you here, Chris. So, for anybody who might not know who Chris is, who are you, Chris? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I've been involved in the Apple II, I guess, more recently, I guess, in the hobby for about the last 6 years. And I actually, if you want to just know the backstory, so I got an Apple II Plus when I was about 12 years old, and my family actually won it in a contest. So there was a computer store that was opening up right near our house, and we entered the contest and we won. And actually, my dad was the one who technically won it. And so anytime he wanted to play a game, he would always kind of throw out that card and be like, nope, it's my turn. Even though the computer sat in my room, he somehow took it over.
Dad, I'm trying to sleep. Nah. 5 more minutes of lemonade stand, Chris.
Yeah. No, Castle Wolfenstein was his favorite game, even though it scared him half to death when the SS would come in. But so
I had your room or in the game. That needs a little clarification.
This is true. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Very dangerous in the Torrance neighborhood growing up.
Can't be too
careful. Rough area.
Yeah. So so I had that growing up, and then I think like a lot of people, I just kind of drifted away from the Apple, for a few years, and then just around, I guess it was around 2014, kind of fell back into it, and then some of you may know I became friends with Roger Wagner, who wrote the Assembly Lines series of articles back in the 1980s. And then I helped him to republish all of those in a kind of up-to-date modern form. And then I think it was about a year after that, I discovered Kansas Fest. And then, once I started going to that, it was kind of all downhill from there. So lots of computers, I started a YouTube channel and just had a lot of fun, repairing old computers and just meeting up with lots of cool people. So that's about my story.
Hey, cool. As just Kansas Fest related, so you can drop it here first, that our listeners can hear it first. Is Kansas Fest going to be in person this year?
Oh yeah, I gotta go.
Ron, come back now. Damn it! Don't hold me to it.
Yeah. That is the. What should I say? $6502 question.
It will always be in person in our hearts.
Exactly. Yeah. I think, we're going to have to make a decision on that pretty soon. But at this point, we're not 100% sure, and we've been talking about it. And obviously, we want to go back in person as soon as we can. But we just want to make sure it's, safe for people.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I think one might ask, well, when is the right time, right? And so I think that's something we're going to debate is, maybe we just need to kind of bite the bullet. Is that a retro roundup pun?
Yeah.
And we'll just see what happens. So at this point, not sure. It'll happen in one form, though. That. So it'll either be virtual or in person or hybrid. In 2022.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some channel updates while we're here before we start digging into topics. First channel update is 135 subscribers. Wow, that's awesome. We were at 72 yesterday. In one day, we doubled. So can we keep doubling it? until like there's more than the world in subscribers, and we know they're
More
all
subscribers
bots.
to their channel than people on YouTube.
Yeah,
We can do it.
I think it doubled because Chris Torrence is here.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I heard about Chris and they say, that's it. I'm
I
going.
gotta go. I gotta
No
subscribe right now.
coincidence there. You know.
and we also got a Discord.
Yes.
Throw that in there. If anybody wants to stop by our wonderful Discord, hang out with all of the other Retro Repair Roundup people and do that, you can. It's the fancy thing that all the young kids are doing these days.
Mhm.
Or is that
Like that?
TikTok? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I'm too old for any of that crap. So yeah, those are the channel updates. So topics. I wanted to start off with the cool thing. I may have chatted about it last week, or 2 weeks ago. I brought it up randomly on Mac Yak on Friday or Thursday, but I want to bring it up again. I found a magical, nearly perfect match for platinum colored Apple IIs and Macs in PLA filament for 3D printers. I don't know why I came up with this. It was part of the project that I had working with Javier to do the Mystic upgrade for his Color Classic. And if anybody knows how that works, you put the LC575 board in the Color Classic, do a little bit of hack, and you've got like this Color Classic that's on steroids. But the problem is that then the backplate doesn't match anymore. So I knew that there was a 3D model out there you could print, but I'm like, gosh darn it, I don't want to paint this. I want it to just be perfect. So I went on this like 2 or 3 week whatever of trying to find a filament. I found one that's a good match. Using a cool color sensor here. Thank you, Javier, for mentioning that. I was able to get the perfect color code of the clean plastic, and did a lot of math and averaging and stuff, and reached out a couple of filament makers and found one in the Netherlands who happens to make one that is almost spot perfect. It's a little bit warmer than it should be, but it passes what I call the 3-foot test. You can get that from a company called ColorFab. It's called Silk Gray RAL 7044. I'm going to post that in the chat too for people, so that now anybody anywhere with a 3D printer can go out, get some of that filament, and print their platinum stuff to their heart's content. What do y'all think about that?
Joe, I guess the question is, how much is shipping from the Netherlands?
Well,
I mean,
Too expensive.
Is it just cheaper to go to just go there in person, just pick it up?
It might be.
Do they do?
I mean, you
port
can't get
pickup?
there right now because regulations.
You
but-
just swim. Just swim.
It's swim.
How much is a 3D printer nowadays?
You can get a relatively good one for about $200.
Really?
The Creality Ender series are really solid entry level printers. That's the one I use. I've got mine's the two-year-old model, and it just works.
How long does it take to print?
It all depends on the printer.
Well,
And what you're printing, obviously.
yeah, obviously, yeah.
Quality set. There's a lot of different things that can affect how long it's going to take to print. The thickness of the slices and the speed at which it lays down and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
So, Joe, I guess the next step is resin in this color.
Ooh, resin would be really nice because then you wouldn't have print lines.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be
yeah.
perfect.
One thing at a time. But if people are interested here in the United States, where most of us are based, I don't know. Javier's got that base up on the moon. But people on Earth in the United States, are you doing any printing for people right now? Since you've already got the stuff, are you going to add some items maybe to your merch store? I mean, subtly making plugs for you here.
Thank you, Ron. Now that you mention it, yes, if you go to jcm-1.com, you can purchase a Color Classic Mystic Black backplate in perfect matching color.
Let's just go back. Let's do it one more
rewind.
time.
Try that
Go from
again.
the
Take
top.
2.
Take 2. Nope, only one take. One take, Joe.
We'll do it live.
But yeah, so absolutely. So if you have a 3D printer, you can actually go to my website and just grab the file to print it yourself. But if not, you can just throw dollars at me, and 7 hours later, plus shipping, plus whatever, you'll get one. That answers your question, Rudy. Those things take 7 hours to print. It takes a while.
It's pretty
I figured
reasonable.
that. I wasn't
Don't
sure.
you want
I have enough experience.
$17 to print one of these?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super reasonable. Just pay Joe. Just do it.
Yeah, nowadays actually we need to more and more. We need 3D printers to print a lot of little parts that we're missing.
Yeah.
I actually,
Like the clips to those back plant panels for the regular ones, because they break when you look at them from across the room.
This is one thing that I did yesterday. This is CH joystick, and it was missing this part, this little top part, and I had to do it because I don't have a fancy 3D printer, but I had a fancy piece of wood, so I did it out of wood.
Nice.
It's pretty ugly, but it works. But honestly, I would prefer to have done it in 3D. So
Nature, the original 3D printer.
Or use wood.
Yep. Javier, for that joystick, have you noticed other ones have the same problem? Because I had the exact same joystick, and it was that same part was missing off of mine too. So I'm just wondering if they crack.
No, just maybe people lose them, or I got one from John Morris that actually was all chewed from his dog. So the whole thing, it would be nice to get like 3D printed.
Yep.
So for parts.
Whoever of us gets a 3D printer next can take on Vintage Hillbilly Shack's suggestion. He's like his challenge is 3D printer replacement case for a PC Junior. 18 hours and 50 screwed up different print jobs later.
I would say at this point, before they finish doing it, not to get too far off base or too far off the path here, but Computer Reset is still doing meetings. I mean, if you can find a way down there, I mean, you could probably go in there and pick up a junked PC Junior for, I think now it's $150 to get in the door. They don't even price stuff anymore. So you can $150, you could go down there and just whatever will fit in your vehicle that you bring, that's how much it costs. So you might be able to get some PC Junior stuff now cheaper than it's ever been.
So the next question is, which one of the five of us is closest, and who's going there on my behalf next?
I just go on eBay. PC Junior, buy.
Yeah, I'm only 9 hours away, so.
I'm only 3 days away.
Tom Barber mentions there's a Facebook buy-sell group for Computer Reset. So if you can't go there, somebody might be able to help you out. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there have been people pulling up with like the most recent pictures they have out there on the regular group. There are people that are just showing up with like box trucks. And
really?
Yeah, that they're just like, oh, all these old stuff that people were on the fence about before, they are no longer on the fence. They're just getting it all out of there. But that's kind of the idea, is they want to go and try to wrap that sale up so they can go ahead and sell the building and all that. So if you are on the fence about making the pilgrimage down there, you just need to get there.
Well worth it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bring your paper clips, jam them in all the power supplies you want. I mean, you've already bought it. You do whatever you want.
Good suggestion.
Awesome. So, what do we want to talk about next? I do want to drop a cool trick I came up with just to keep it on repair. Just yesterday, actually, fixing an Apple IIc. My Twitter followers happen to know that I was working on an Apple IIc, and 13 out of the 16 RAM chips were bad. And they were MT chips because, of course, they were. And they were so hot that if you looked at them across the room, your eyeballs burned. But a trick that I found for diagnosing those, it works really well on the Apple II, but it also works in any machine where the video or the text screen is mapped to the standard video area. Adam McGee, Joe, I'm waiting for my package. Yeah, I promised him I would send him the dead chips when I was done. So a trick for determining those failed memory chips, usually what happens is you'll get garbage on the screen in specific places. And if you know what's supposed to be on the screen in that area, say it's just a blank, that means it's going to be a space character. You can look up the ASCII binary value for that character and compare it to the value that you're seeing on the screen. And usually it'll be off by 1 bit. And that'll tell you which one of those RAM chips is bad. Typically in those old computers, they're 1-bit memory chips arranged in an array of 8, one for each bit. And if, it's the 4th bit over, it must be the 4th chip in. Swap the chip out. Hey, the problem went away. That allowed me to get this one Apple IIc I'm working on up well enough to determine that I had fixed all the main bank of RAM, but the aux RAM was still bad, and things like ProDOS wouldn't load correctly still, stuff like that. So it was kind of helpful doing that.
Nice.
Javier, don't you have a cool RAM tester that you use to test some of those chips?
I made actually one, from the internet. I remember I found the plans on how to do it. This is an Arduino Nano, and there's some plans on the internet, and it's pretty easy to make, and even I can do it. That means a lot.
So you just connect it. Get fixed.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Get fixed.
See, shh, Rudy, you weren't supposed to say that. He shipped it to me to fix it, and I sent it back.
So this thing, I just put the chip in there, and if it goes green, it works. If it goes red, it's bad. So it's pretty easy. So it's good.
There are even fancier ones you can get if you're testing lots and lots and lots of chips.
Yeah.
As well. So
like the one you have, Joe. Want to show that one?
Yeah.
What's that one? What?
You want to show the one that you have?
Mine's not done yet.
It's a big fancy one.
Yeah, I've got this thing from a German dude that I haven't finished building yet. But this doesn't just do RAM chips; it does logic chips. Yep. So you can just throw your logic chip in there. It has a screen that plugs in up here eventually, and you pick the chip and you can run it, which is really cool for testing those chips. Nice. It's a cool way to automate testing chips, so you don't have to have an oscilloscope or a logic probe and know what the chip is supposed to do. You just throw the chip in there and go, it's good or it's bad, and you can replace the chip.
This is what I do, guys. I get the chip and I'm just kind of like, it's good. This one's good.
Yeah.
And when I'm done making that French onion dip, you can just go. There you go.
Have you guys, speaking of dead chips, have you tried that trick where you just take a known good chip and just put it right on top of
Never worked for me.
With the leg? That never really worked. It seems like it's worked every time, but I'm just curious whether I've just gotten lucky or whether it's the type of chip. I don't know what the difference is.
I found success with it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine tried that on a pet, was it a 4032 pet? Ended up causing a fire. You end up shorting everything in it. And it's like, dude, you burned my computer. I said, I didn't say to change to do it on all the chips. Just
that's user error, definitely.
That's keyboard and chair issue, not a computer issue.
Yep.
Listen, I put the chip on top of the other chip and then did a killer poke, and my house collapsed into a singularity. Rudy, this is your fault.
Sorry, got insurance. But I've used that trick a couple of times on a couple of Apple IIs, a VIC 20 and a Commodore 64, and it worked.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hit and miss.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all depends on what's wrong. If the chip is completely dead, then yeah. But if it's not, it can also give you weird errors too. So
yeah.
Just buy a really good desoldering iron.
Yeah.
Or a gun, and just pull it out.
That's another one. You should get kind of good equipment, because I remember I had a bad soldering iron, and it was I'm still bad, but I at least I got a hack on it. It's a lot big difference. It really solders and really works.
Yeah, and desoldering also, just like I think Joe just showed, right? That's Don't try.
To go back to putting the chips over. Sorry, I was off answering somebody's question. I'll tell you why. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the failure mode of the chip in progress.
Exactly. Yeah.
If it fails where the driver goes open, that'll fix it, because the chip you're putting on there will be able to drive the line. or if it's a receiver problem, it'll be able to receive and drive the line. If it's an issue where it has fried short, which is NT RAM chips always do, to the point that Apple IIco I was working on went into overload trip and was going beep 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 until I turned it off and back on. That's why they fry really hot. What happens is they end up driving one of the lines high at all times, an output line. So if you put the new chip over there, it doesn't do anything because the line's just going to be at 5 volts.
Right.
So that's that.
And the other trick is when you do it, make sure you turn the power back on.
Yeah.
It's not working still. I don't know.
I mean, it's worse than before.
Your screen is black. Okay, I'm going to need you to keep your computer on. Yes, I'll hold. Yeah, talking about tools. Getting a good soldering iron is important. If you're just starting out, whatever. Especially if you're just putting together if you're really just learning and wanting to learn the soldering process, good solder is more important than a good iron.
Yep.
To be honest.
I just got my new iron.
Yes.
And flux.
VK
Flux is
good.
important too.
Yeah, it's
flux. I can vouch about that. I was using a very crappy flux, and it caused problems. I got the one that Joe suggested, and it's big difference.
If you want to know why flux is important, go ahead and watch Ben Heck's video where he does some board level repair on a X68000. Is that the name of the machine? It's like that Sharp X.
Yeah, it's a Japanese mega.
Yeah, because he had the audio board and he was just like pulling chips up out of there. He pulled the ground plane up through a via.
Oops.
I was like, huh, that seems like that was an avoidable error, but
ow.
Yeah. Want to use flux.
You need a good also you need a good tip. You need an assortment of tips really for your iron to make sure you get
offset conical. Is that what that's the new hotness?
Yeah.
The new hotness everybody yells at people about. Sure.
Yeah, the new hotness is that offset conical. You don't want to go out in grandpa's garage and you got one that looks like a
the like big Radio Shack
with a drill that's got like the two
Yeah.
Like if your iron makes that sound when you activate it, you better be replacing like amp cables or cables for your electric guitars.
What does everybody think about the Pine Sol, the little tiny Pine Sol USB-C powered? I
want to get one of those.
Adrian seems to really like that quite a bit.
There's a lot of YouTubers out there too that are like, this is the best thing since sliced bread, and they're not even paying me to say that. So they must be good. I like the fact that they're really small. They're small. You plug it in USB and you're done. You don't have this big funky base station laying around. I have that same
cold
iron,
heat?
I think, Javier. Yeah.
Is that a cold heat iron?
No, it's a battery.
It's a little Weller battery iron. You get it at like Lowe's and Home Depot.
Yeah.
Who makes that?
I have one that plugs in. That was actually my first iron that I used, and it works really well. I use it as my backup emergency iron.
Javier, what's the brand? Who makes it?
It's
Is that Weller?
No, it's not Weller.
Is it
Must be Chinese.
Samsung Hum?
As if we can read that.
Chan Shen Wan.
Oh, that looks like a Hako.
Yeah, this is a Hako battery one.
This is the cheap version, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's actually it's pretty good. I brought it to Kansas Fest a couple of years ago, and it was actually really good because you can just throw it in your bag and bring it.
Wow.
And make sure the batteries are out so your bag doesn't catch fire.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, you should bring your 888 because that's a much funner conversation with TSA. Hold on, guys. Just let me go ahead. Let me adjust these dials with numbers above it. He's got it.
I got in trouble for bringing a screwdriver once on a plane.
Well, they tell you, though, anything you buy at the hotel bar can't go on the plane, Rudy. You should have known that. They serve their own drinks in flight.
I said, why can't I bring this? What am I going to do? Fix the plane? Like, are you scared I'm going to take someone's job away? Sorry, you can't have that. It's like, okay.
Somebody's got to respond to Michael Mulhern's comment there on the. It's just begging to have some sort of response.
Michael, we feel sorry for you, sir.
Yes.
We're just going to leave it there. This is a family stream, is it?
And this is old. It's like 5 or 6 years ago I bought this. I'm sure nowadays they're very small ones. But
yeah, those Pinecils are just this deep. They're like that.
they're very.
yeah.
What's it?
Nice.
Is it the TS100 you're talking about? I think it was called the TS100. Excellent reviews, really tiny, but I guess if you're traveling and you need something like that, be great. I don't mind having a station, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that I can easily quickly reach over, adjust the temperature. I got my hot air gun right there. That's all wired too. My scope is wired, so I'm always wired.
Well, I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind something wireless, because sometimes you have to reach something and you're in the middle of something, and then you need to put it in your other hand, and of course with a wire and all that, you can get burned very easy,
Yeah.
So
That's why I always thought Zaphod Beeblebrox would have made the very best technician. It's the 2-head thing, maybe not as useful, but that third hand, that third arm, where you could just kind of like, it's like, I got okay. Oh, thanks, third arm.
Yes, I could use that a lot. Yeah,
I just every day.
I just glue on a mannequin arm on my back, and I'm good to go.
Just build one of those Spider-Man. What was it?
Oh yeah, the
Doc Ock, yeah.
Yeah.
That's soldering 102, Javier. We're still in soldering 101. We're not quite there yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But to address what Michael was, insinuating in the chat, it is never your screwdriver. It's Article A screwdriver when TSA finds it in your luggage, because they don't want to have an awkward conversation with you. They're just gonna say, hey, we can't let you take this on the plane because it's vibrating all the other luggage.
That's right.
Jesus. Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
So what other good tools are there to have? Solder removal is a thing as well.
Yes.
Just about any of the solder suckers will work. Although I'm going to be a huge proponent for the automated ones, the one with the actual pump in.
Yeah.
I've used some of the manual ones. Yeah.
I hate that pump.
They're terrible. Terrible.
No, this is amazing. Depending on what you're doing, because if you don't care about what you're doing, it's the perfect tool.
I've seen that pull off traces off boards, let alone solder.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't do it like 40-year-old electronics, but
yeah.
I think the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you do have to clean these out every so often.
Yeah.
Because I took a new job at a micro age. That just tell people how old you are without telling them how old you are. I took a job at a micro age, and I went in there and I was like desoldering like something on a power supply, just like just nothing too big. And I
boom. Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened. I opened it up and it was just like it might as well as somebody just poured like molten solder down it. It was like Elvis's last poop. It wasn't coming out. So
well, that's a good point. We need good maintenance also in our tools.
Mm-hmm.
At least every 2 weeks I clean up all my tools. I do take out all the rust, everything that I can find any issue.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep them clean, because that.
Yep.
And the automated pumps are big on that as well. You've got to clean them almost after every run that you're working. I was desoldering. I think I put a picture on Twitter of it earlier today, but I was desoldering a board for reverse engineering. Mm-hmm. And it was clean when I started, and it just kind of stopped working. I take it out, and there's a stalactite of lead crystal, the entire length.
Oh, I saw it
of the thing. And it's like, I've only been using this for an hour. So it's not just, you got to really clean them out every single time as well. The thing I found with the automated guns is it usually has like a little kind of like a reed valve type of thing for the pump system. It's usually a little plastic thing. And that gets gummed up with flux residues. and it can get sticky and nasty and degrade over time. You got to sometimes replace that. The filters as well, as Javier is showing, you have to replace those every 3 or 4
and
series.
also the tips. I got an extra tip just in case, because that gets clogged all the time.
Yeah. You gotta use the declogger on all of the orifices. You must plumb the depths every single time, or else you end up with that $300 on a tool that doesn't work. It's just like any well-designed piece of German engineering, or in this case Japanese
Japanese in this case,
properly maintained. So
my tips, I also clean them up.
Yeah, how do you do that? Do you use just sandpaper? Or?
Put them in a drill and sandpaper and and
just enough to take the crust off. You don't really want to dig into it, right?
No, I don't want to. But just enough.
Yep.
So that's important.
Talking about adjustments, I do this. I do at least once a month or more often on my scope, on my oscilloscope, to make sure that it's accurate. Because mine has a setting you can set to. You hook up the probes, and then you run the test, and it shows you the impedance on the wire. If it's, you got to zero it all out, and off you go. Because God forbid you get wrong readings later. I don't know if you guys use scopes. Anyone here is using oscilloscope? I know
from time to time. Yeah,
every now and then.
Yeah,
scopes are above my pay grade. But the fume extractor that he's talking about, Michael's talking about, I got one of this, and honestly, I hate the sound, but it's cheap at least.
I wired up a little Noctua fan. 3D printed out some stuff so it just sits upright. Wired up a little switch, a little power switch here, so I can turn it on and off. And I just set it to, and people might get this backwards. You don't want it blowing towards you. You want it actually blowing away from you to bring a draft back away from your face. And it just kind of gently pulls the smoke away from you so you don't get in your face. And it eventually fills the room, and then you get delirious anyway. But, you've delayed the inevitable. Makes you feel like you've done something.
My extractor cost me a couple $100,000. It's called a window. Have the fan going and crank the window open, and it's like, wow, it's an expensive fan extractor here. It's like, wow, I got to get a more cheaper one next time.
I'm thinking about buying a cheap vacuum and put it like next to it, and having the vacuum like in the other room, so I don't hear the sound, because it bothers me, the sound, not the vacuum. But
make sure it's in your kid's room.
Yeah. Oh, good idea. Ooh.
They've already got the volume cranked up playing Wolfenstein, so they're fine.
Yeah.
That's okay. They'll be fine.
Just point the exhaust to your neighbors.
Yeah. What's this tube running across the? It goes into the input vent in their HVAC system. Honey, I think the air conditioner's on the fritz again.
You guys just buy fancier filters than we do, so I just figured, putting it to good use.
What about anti-static protocol? What are you guys using?
Anything?
I'm kind of
I normally just wear like a wool sweater.
Yep.
A wool sweater, yeah.
I
just have my anti-static mat,
good,
which is grounded. I still have my original power bar from my first computer. It's metal, and it's each plugs have screws, so they're grounded. So I just use that as a grounding to my pad. I just touch that. I don't wear the wrist straps and all that.
Same here.
No.
Yeah.
I figure
similar setup.
If my hair isn't standing on end, I don't.
That's right.
No static. Look, honey.
I was gonna say that'd be a hell of a Van de Graaff generator. Be like hair standing on end. You can't see it. You're just gonna have to take my word for it.
It's back.
I'll never be able to say that. I'll say it's on my back, but not back.
That'd be pretty great. It'd be like the Play-Doh barbershop, just kind of give it a little squeeze, and there it comes out of Rudy's head.
I tried that on my stomach; it doesn't work. Just makes you run to the John.
Oh, geez.
Okay, let's not go there.
Moving on. Yeah, I do the same thing. I've got an anti-static mat that's grounded to an actual ground plug, so the bench itself is destatic. I actually do use a wrist strap, but only when I'm grabbing brand new ICs out of my bins for packaging for putting into projects. Once they're in the project and they're all bonded together on the PCB itself, it's usually okay there. But yeah, grabbing individual ICs, I make sure that I'm grounded. In addition, as I've mentioned before, everything in this room is live at about 55 volts AC for reasons I still haven't figured out. So I have to be careful what two things I touch at the same time, or else it's an awakening experience.
When I first started doing Apple II repairs, I found a really good trick for static. If you have an Apple II plugged in, 2E or 2 Plus, excuse me, and it's plugged in, and you're working on it, just touch the power supply.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
On
Considering you have a grounded outlet.
Yes. Right.
It's very
But
important.
and if I'm working, I just lean my arm on it or touch it with my arm while I'm working away, and then discharging all the static.
Let me ask you guys this, because we're all from like a time period where, maybe there were certain things that were just not as affordable or not as common, or you only had a few of them, so you like, my precious, like we have to kind of hang on to these things. But in the 90s, I don't think I ever ordered anything from anybody else over Usenet that did not arrive at my house wrapped in tinfoil. Rather than in a static bag or something like that, just because it was just easier to kind of get a hold of. Has that happened to you? Actually, I recently ordered some ICs from someone, and they came wrapped in tinfoil. Has that happened to any of you guys in the last?
Are you sure it's not marijuana?
I've never seen
to your house?
No, it wasn't. No, it's not where I live. That's all further west and east. We're just in the middle.
So do you think I should be shipping all of my Assemblane's books wrapped in tinfoil?
Tinfoil.
I would
What
just.
about idea?
Okay.
I mean, just
you
keep
don't want the
them
book to get static, right?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Just to knock down on the
surprised
number
my,
of returns you get for bad books.
Yeah. Exactly.
On page 374, an E turned into an R. Static.
I keep reading the book and it crashes after page 24. I'm pretty sure it's got
I
ESD
think my Nox
damage.
Arceus diskette came in tinfoil.
Yeah. I used a lot of tinfoil for those.
Yeah.
I think that
But it
was
was
just
fine-
mostly
it
to
was fine
protect it
back
from the
there, so I
government,
kept
though.
it.
Right. Yeah. I took it off my head, and wrapped it up.
No, I've never seen anything come in tinfoil.
Well,
I've had stuff shipped in Ziploc bags, though. So yeah, some stuff that you get off of, AliExpress and others.
I was gonna say that's weird considering it was a 17-inch CRT, but necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Is it?
that reminded me that
I thought that was
talking about
laziness.
shipping. I just got a shipment from. I bought this silicone. I don't know if you can see it. It's too much light. Anyway,
Yeah, it's too much light.
yeah, it's DuPont silicone
Like
lubricant,
this.
Teflon, and there you go.
Yeah.
And it came, like you say, in a bag, in a Ziploc bag. So everything was like, it began to drip out, and everything was all damped. So, but this is pretty good actually for the drives, and this is from Herb. Herbert told me to buy one of these things, and this is awesome for the floppy drives when you clean them up.
It's better than the lithium grease because it doesn't goop up.
Well, I
Doesn't
use
evaporate.
yeah. And
What about
this
the
is
oxide?
better, yeah. And this is Teflon and silicone, so it's really, really good. I started using it, and it really makes a difference.
Well, Deox is more for cleaning contacts and stuff, not necessarily for lubing the drive rails, right?
That's true.
Yeah, the oxide is.
I mean, you could use Deoxit sort of like a general cleaner to get rid of de-gunkify the gunk. 3-in-1 oil, baby. Yeah.
Just everything. Like your toast in the morning, everything.
So that's why you're so weird. Now we get it.
It's actually no, guys. It's the fumes off this candle. Because every time I'm doing a repair, I light the candle, pray a little
And
pray,
that's why
and then
nothing breaks with you.
Engage in the repair.
It's there.
this weird acrid smoke comes out. It's kind of strange, but
Open the window.
That's it.
Not even opening the window. It won't
I don't
go.
have the $100,000 for the window though. It's just maybe Pella will take some payments. I guess maybe I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Who's got any future projects they're working on? Chris, we'll start with you. What's going on in your world? What you playing?
That's a good question. I'm gonna have some stuff up on my store hopefully soon. I've been talking to the folks over at
let's plug your store. You got lots of cool, nifty stuff on there.
Yeah. So I do have a store. So it's ct6502.org, O-R-G. And I've got t-shirts and sweatshirts, and I've also got a few Apple II items like the Assembly Lines book. And so I've been talking to Kaboo HK, so they make the W drive. Yeah. So actually Javier kind of suggested that, and that's
I'm the hookup guy.
Yep, you are.
Ron,
I need to get the one that's got the OLED display. That's
yes. Yep. Yeah. So
Geek with social skills says, "Hey, everybody." Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all good.
just Sean. I demand to be recognized right now.
So I'm going to start carrying their stuff on my store.
Cool.
And then I've also, I don't know if you guys have seen this A2IO, which is the little
board.
The
joystick one.
Yeah, it's a joystick board, so it plugs into like the 9-pin connector in the back of a 2E.
Yep.
And then you can actually, it's a wireless thing, so it'll hook up to like your
iPhone.
Yeah, like you hook up to your iPhone, and then that'll hook up to like a Bluetooth, like an Xbox controller.
Oh,
nice. I watched your video on that. It's pretty cool.
It's really slick. Yeah, so that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So it's Aaron Reed who has developed that. And then I've actually just my own little project. So I've got these little boards that I put together that lets you use that or any sort of joystick in an old, like an Apple II Plus or like an original Apple II, which only has the 16-pin connector.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's an internal adapter. Sweet.
It's a little internal adapter. Yeah. So you can either use that with that A2IO or just use it with any old,
nice
9-pin joystick. So
cool.
That's what I've been working on.
Very
and
nice.
Then I've been doing lots of stuff with like Nox Archaist as well. So we're coming out with Mark Lemmert wrote a book on the making of Nox Archaist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been putting that together for him, and that's going to be hopefully out in about a month.
Will there be a movie?
And is Ron in it?
We talked about doing a board game though. So
that would be cool. A board game. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. You heard it here first.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. All right. That's about it for me.
What's going on in your world, Ron?
Hold on. Before we go to Ron, Chris,
I
want to say I have your mug. I bought one of your mugs a while ago back.
Yes.
And those are like made out of like, I don't know what, but I've dropped it about a dozen times. It doesn't break.
Why do you keep dropping it?
Because I keep putting too much coffee and it gets hot. I drop it. And I can't sue McDonald's. So I don't know. It worked. Put it back in the dishwasher. It's fantastic. It's well made.
You heard it here. Indestructible.
Indestructible.
Yep.
shows up tomorrow on ct6502.org with quotes around it. Indestructible. Indestructible. Random guy on the internet.
I bought one of Chris's swashbuckler mugs, and all it did was steal all my grog.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Should have known.
Yep.
So, Ron, what are you working on now?
Oh Lord, what aren't I working on? Actually, I just the other day I went through and got out. I've got like a whole stack of Mac floppy drives, and now what I have is a whole stack of Mac floppy drives that have stripped gears. So I'm doing some resin printing of that gear.
Yeah.
That is
how do you
kind
find
of
that?
just seeing.
Sorry, Ron. How do you find that resin printing? Does it work really good?
It depends on what you're doing.
Like this gear replacement.
Say it again.
The
gear replacement. I have a whole stack of them out in my car. These gears. I had a friend print them, and we'll test them out. But initially, he just did PLA, and they're very, very small. And even at like the very highest end, with some of these Ender, like the Ender 3 and all that, you end up with like see-through gears Like I just took my thumb and it was just like just
Yep.
turning it around. You can just strip all the gears off. The
Yeah.
resin gears are much stronger. So I am hoping, but my plan is it won't be before the end of December. But I'm going to do a video that's basically like testing those resin printed gears and how well do they work versus, you know, something you could feasibly do on your own versus buying some of the ones online that are $8 or $9 a piece,
Yeah.
Right.
or paying for Shapeways or somewhere or someone to make them for you. So that's something I'm working on, trying to get. I've been working with Joe and I've been working with Silicon Insider on a video that I'm trying to put together about the Quadra 700 and using the Apple DOS compatibility card with that machine, because I'm not 100% sure that like the ideal use case on that is like a 6100 or a Quadra 610 or something like that, because the 700 has just got better onboard video. So do those gains translate into gains for your DOS compatibility card? And, you know, just sort of making like an ultimate kind of thing. And I actually sent a project off to Joe. He very graciously soldered these like high density connector things on a board for me and stuff. So, and then that's going to be part of it as well. So as soon as I can get that all put together, that needs to go out before the end of the month, because December has only got a few days left in it. And so that's the big stuff. That and my my remote battery project, which one of these days will, you know, turn into something more than just talk. But that's it. That's the big stuff.
What are you up to, Javier?
Oh, don't ask.
5'2"?
Breaking stuff. Well, actually, I fixed the joystick that I told you.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. You know, thinking about how to fix it quickly, and it was all broken, of course, the cables inside and all that. So now it looks beautiful and kind of new. I painted the wood thing, but as Kate said, I was thinking about leaving the wood itself, you know. And I just, you know, put it on top just if, you know, until the owner finds a 3D printing part and replaces it. But at least it doesn't look naked right now.
Yeah.
I think a nice like oak or walnut stain on that would look really nice.
Yeah.
Kind of offset that a little bit.
Yeah, and again, other than that, I've been, you know, helping people fixing things, and I got an LC from hell that I've been trying to to make it work.
You mean an LC?
Yeah, I read about that.
It?
Yeah,
I have half of Javier's computer sitting
I
behind
was
me.
gonna say.
that's right. I don't want to send more computers to Joe, so I'm trying to do it.
Well, you don't want to know what the shipping cost is going to be. Send that back. Do you want it all in one big box or a few smaller boxes? It might be cheaper to send it in
Whatever's cheaper for you. Whatever is cheaper and easier for you.
I don't care.
No, but again, you know, it's a pain, and you know, I recapped twice this LC, and finally it's working, but I don't have sound and I don't have video, so
it's a good headless server,
it's fun.
You know.
Huh? What do you say?
No audio, no video. It's a headless server. It's fine. It's fine.
That's right. That's it. Doesn't matter.
It's an Apple Talk local talk bridge for Ethernet. It's fine.
Yeah,
That's all you need.
Just do
Put an
that.
Ethernet card
Then you
in
don't
there.
need a raw SCSI. You just got a energy vampire sitting in a closet somewhere,
That's right.
pulling down 110 all the time. You're good. You're good.
Other than that, you know, I got a bunch of things that I still have to fix, but yeah, it's little by little, and it's fun.
Cool.
We learn more and more.
What's going on in your world, Rudy?
Way up north by Santa Claus. Yes. What I got recently, I got a couple of 2Es, and one is kind of rare, which I've just fixed up and I'm selling to a guy on Tuesday. It's a French/English or English/French Apple IIe. So on the bottom of the case, Apple put a switch. You just flick the button, and the keyboard uses the French characters will come out. If you switch it back, it goes into English characters. But the cool thing is you can do it on the fly. So let's say you type a sentence in French, you flick it to the English, it converts the existing characters on the screen into English characters.
Mm-hmm. It's switching the ROM between two different the character gen ROM or something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently it's pretty rare. You don't see them in Quebec, maybe in France. I don't know, but I've heard of them. I've never seen one. Finally got one. I put it together. Worked fine. I did a quick video on it. The what's it called? The video connector. The barrel of it was spinning and no video.
Yeah, they all do. Every single one, forever.
Yeah, forever. Spin forever. And so I did a video on that. The next thing I'm working on is a couple of two little projects which are very new to me. One is a repair of a Commodore 128.
Ooh.
So it's a board, looks like it's a bigger unit than a regular Commodore.
You have my shipping address,
64.
right, Rudy?
Sorry?
I said you have my shipping address, right?
No, I can.
You gonna send that to me?
No.
I mean, I don't have to
try.
fix it. It's just gonna go back here for me to play with. So
I've never repaired a 128, so it'd be interesting. But apparently, the inside is a Commodore 64, and then they add another computer, so it's actually three computers in one. It's got the 64, 128, and a Z80 processor.
Wow.
So the Z80 processor boots up, and then depending on what keys you press and what you do, it'll go into the 128 mode or the Commodore 64 mode. So I'm gonna repair that. And for a friend of mine, he's got a ton of stuff he wants to repair. It's like, okay, I'll just try it up. If it blows up, I'll just send it to Joe.
128K repairs, 128K repairs are only twice as hard as 64 repairs. So that's just math. Just math.
And then I'm going to be working on a what's it called? It's the Atari 600 XL.
Mm-hmm.
So
don't talk to me about Ataris.
I'll be doing
Boo Atari.
Atari.
The Atari incident. Yes, it'll be an upgrade to from 16. I think it's 16 to 32, and then a video mod and all that. But yeah, that, and now with the holidays that are here, it's going to be quite busy.
Cool.
Joe, I know you're working all kinds of good stuff. What are you up to?
Didn't I start?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you had more.
I've heard all about Joe's stuff and how he's helping like dozens
So
of
I'm
other
fixing
people
everybody
realize
on
their
the screen
dreams.
except Chris fix things. No, seriously. People send stuff to me because like I do it for free because I'm a nice guy. Anyway,
You heard it here first.
seriously
Folks.
though.
Send all your stuff to Joe. Address
Well, see,
forthcoming.
Javier pays me by like giving me all these other cool trinkets. He's like, I have a spare LC575 board. If you want to convert my Color Classic to an LC575, I'll give you the other board. Okay.
I got an offer you can't refuse.
So it's like, apparently I am going to owe Javier free repair for like a billion years, but
Joe,
that's fine.
Joe, do you work on Commodore Pets?
I work on everything, man.
A friend of mine has purchased, get this, from a what's it called, the estate sale, I guess we'd call it, 29 pets.
Wow.
149 64s and about 40 Apple IIes.
Did David Murray pass away?
Thank you, Michael.
So I might just ship it all in a container to Joe. Just send to Joe.
Yeah.
Dude, you have my shipping address. Send it anytime.
I'll put can I put COD on it?
I don't have any room back here. I'll find room for a pet. That's fine.
You're saying that you need a pet?
Yeah.
Sure.
Not
the type that eats food and like poops on the floor though. The type that like I put 8 bits in and 8 bits come out. Or in the case of the pet, I put 8 bits in and a whole bunch of garbage comes out because they always have bad RAM. But whatever.
True.
Sure. Now, the project I'm working on right now, the big thing is, of course, I am working on reverse engineering the Titan Apple II, Apple III set. That's slow going because I'm being insanely careful with it because the boards are like, they're rare, unobtainium. And also, thanks to Javier again, Javier always finds me the coolest things. He's the hooker upper of people, right? Yep. He's like,
I'm glad you said upper after that.
I know people.
Yeah, Javier's like, you know this guy, and you guys get together and talk. but he got me connected with the folks over in the one of the Franklin Ace forums or something like that. And somebody sent me the RAM upgrade card for the Franklin Ace 2000, I think it is.
Wow.
And it's basically just like a RamWorks 3 card, but in a specialized format for that machine. And so I can't show it to you. It's in the scanner, but I just finished stripping that today so that I can scan it and copy that so we can get Gerbers out to the community so people can upgrade their Franklin Ace 2000s to 256 gigs. Did I just say gigs?
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Of RAM.
Massive 256.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, there's a stack of them from here all the way over there. There you go.
There's some byte swapping. Some.
Yeah,
Some bites.
Just that big refrigerator over there. That's just the memory manager. It's got to have 2 million inputs in order to deal with that much RAM. But just ignore that. But yeah, so that's a thing that I'm working on. Other than that, people are sending me computers. I'm fixing them, sending them back out, and hanging out with you guys on a Sunday evening.
Cool.
Yeah. Before we get into the next topic, which is Retro Tech holiday gift giving, I do want to, since we're up on the 1 hour near halfway mark, we're going to throw it out to the audience. If you guys got questions, comments, you want input or advice on fixing old computers, start throwing your questions at us right now, and it'll fly by really fast, and we'll only get to half of them, but we'll have some questions to answer. So start throwing those in the chat. So retro holiday gift giving. I'm not sure which one of you put that suggestion in there, but that was Ron. Great. I'll let you start.
I was just going to ask, I thought that more than just saying, here's some great suggestions of items, because we've been kind of talking about that
JCM-1.com.
I have plugged your stuff enough to not get a coupon code for your store, Joe. So actually, I placed an order tonight, as a matter of fact. So, but what I was going to say is kind of, we all have family that are non-technical people, but want to, but seemingly care about you enough to get you a gift. So what is the worst technology item that you've received as a gift from your non-technical family? Chris, why don't you, since you've had no time to prepare.
Yes, exactly. Now I'm trying to think about this. I would say, does it have to be technology? Because I've received a lot of T-shirts that.
Oh yeah, nerd culture. What's maybe the worst nerd culture?
Yeah. Well, no, there's still technology, but it's just basically your generic kind of geek T-shirt that somehow doesn't actually, have anything to do with our particular hobby at all. And I've gotten, I think, 3 or 4 of those over the years, and it's just, what do you do with them, right? Because you can't throw. I mean, I suppose you could throw them away, but
you polish your apples with them.
Yeah, when you go and visit that friend, you wear the shirt that one time or something like that. I mean, it's
like the rabbit costume. You only wear it when that ant shows up.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yes,
it's for exercise or mowing the lawn.
Yep. Yep. So I think that's probably the worst. It's just the T-shirts and things that you just don't know what to do with. So.
Javier, since you walked out of the room conveniently, the thing was I had put in the show notes about it maybe being the worst kind of tech gift you've ever received, rather. So it could be something. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a piece of technology, but it could absolutely be something kind of in our realm of interest. So what's the worst thing that you've been gifted by kind of your non-technical family or non-technical friends?
No, nothing, man. They barely give me anything anyway.
It's supposed to be a downer.
What do you mean it's her birthday? Forget about it.
No, actually, I got a very nice this year gift, but it's kind of geeky. I got a new multimeter. My wife gave it to me, so she told me, "What do you want?" And I said, "Oh, I want a multimeter because I'm a nerd."
Wait, so does this mean that we should take all of these gifts that we have that we don't want and send them to Javier?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Send him all your multimeters.
Next up on Javier's Junk Channel.
That's right.
Rudy, what was a good item that you received?
A good item. Well,
Or no, what's a bad item?
Oh,
Sorry,
bad
that's
item,
bad
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. This hat, maybe. I don't know. I don't really get a lot of tech stuff from family and friends because I always tell them, don't buy me anything tech.
Mhm.
Like my wife went to buy me a new computer. It's like, no. Don't pick anything. Don't even look at the store. Close your eyes as you're walking by Best Buy. Just don't forget about it.
Just
And so
keep some
what
money in the
happened-
checking account for me for after Christmas, and I'll take care of it myself.
Well,
That's
what ended up happening actually worked out well because then I just go on, Amazon or whatever and buy stuff, and I'll say, okay, go to the checkout and just click OK, and we're good. But tech, I get weird shirts like this too. Like I get NVIDIA, just shirts or Intel stuff, and it's like, hey, I got this. Do you want it? It's like, not really, but I can always use a rag for cleaning the truck and stuff. So yeah, I'll take it. But anybody who knows me says, don't give Rudy anything technical or electronics. Yeah. Give him a coupon, give him some cash. Tell him as many Benjamins as you can. That's fine. Or Franklin's, yeah, I mean, whatever. But no, yeah, I've been lucky that way. Oh,
Joe.
I did get. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
The one more thing, I got an iPhone from work. That's probably my worst gift. I love
You must
Apple.
And they
keep going
expect
all
you
the
to
time,
answer
or
it
else.
too, huh?
I don't like that Fisher Price OS. I don't like it. Sorry, I'm an Android guy.
You are on the wrong channel. No.
Uh-oh.
You know it.
Uh-oh. Next week, will Rudy still be here? I don't know.
The guy who suggested the channel? He's been fired.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's like Steve Jobs.
Oh man, I'm just gonna go off on a tangent real quick. Did you see the Twitter account of the guy who he like posted all those pictures of his NVIDIA render farm, and he was talking about how he like used some sort of NVIDIA back channel to buy all these cards directly from NVIDIA, and then his Twitter account just disappeared.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody was really mad. That's all I have to say.
I think it was, hey, you probably should not have said
Mhm.
that we have a back channel supply for all this stuff that is literally murdering the planet.
Mhm.
Probably should not have just fessed up to that. But it's I saw the picture of that, and it was just like this guy's huge operation, and I'm just thinking, and it was like Ethereum, and he was listing all the stuff that he was, sucking down the power to try to figure out. And anyway,
Furthering the grift, one
I
Bitcoin
guess,
at a time.
yes. I'm just telling you, all the people that told me about, like, you've got to invest everything in gold. You've got to invest everything in gold. Are the
Physical
exact
gold.
same people that are now like, you've got to invest everything in. That were like, oh, you've got to like mine Bitcoin. You got to do all this, and now they're like, oh, NFTs. And I'm like, you know what? You still live in a double wide trailer. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like you have busted your ass not trying to work. I would just go get a 9 to 5 and see where that
Mhm.
leads you. You know.
Mhm.
So good luck to people. I am sure that there are some people that have made some money off of it. They're probably the early adopter people.
Yep.
That by the time that common people hear about it, it's done. Now it's the pump, and now it's
Yeah.
the dump.
It's a dump.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, not to upset people, but too bad.
Yeah.
Joe, what
Yeah.
was the worst technology gift that you got? Was
Somebody
it
got
all
me an
those
NFT.
NVIDIA
No,
cards
I'm
through
kidding.
your back channel?
What's that?
Was it all those NVIDIA cards you got through your back channel? That was the worst gift.
What are you talking about? From my no, anyway.
Joe's gone. Oh, he's
Oh,
back.
God.
He scared me. He made my hair fall off. What the hell?
No
It's
worry,
like
I'll
the
start
FBI
kicking you
is
guys
really
next.
working quick
yeah, seriously.
tonight.
Geek with social skills. See ya. So Actually, I do have a story about that. I have several. I'm trying to figure out which one's worse. Okay. So I have this client. We'll just call her Barbara. That's not actually her name, but she's been a client of mine for 20 years.
Not after tonight, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. And so I got regifted a steam cleaner.
Nice. You can finally get all those bad purchases off your Steam account now.
But I also somebody else gave me it was like a Internet of Things, internet connected Bluetooth light, Wi-Fi light bulb, light socket. I don't know. It's something like that. By the time I went to look it up just for funsies, the company had gone out of business. And so it was completely useless and wouldn't turn on. So there's that.
That literally happened to another friend of mine. He was like, it's stuck in this color. Can we fix this? I was like, computer says no. Forget it. Can't do it.
Maybe Joe regifted it to your friend.
Yeah,
That
there
might
we
be
go.
it. I'll check some.
Doing some crazy DNS hacking, trying to like redirect where the traffic goes to figure out how to the protocol to hack the light. That would be really interesting.
All right.
Now I got another weekend project. Anyway, moving on.
Man, just another one on the pile.
Yeah.
But here's mine. Okay. I had a relative who, very well-meaning, 1 year for Christmas, literally gave me a stack of those 100 free hour AOL CDs because the assumption was that they were cumulative.
Yeah.
And you just put the code in. There's another 100 free hours. So it was like there was probably about like 1,000 hours or like 1,200 hours or something of these free CDs. They were very, very proud that they had collected these up for me.
Were they floppies though?
No, it's CDs.
No.
Damn, because floppies you can reuse those.
Well, but I'm pretty sure that back in the floppy era, that those, I mean, you can reuse the CDs. What type of like water rings do you have on your furniture? In my house, none. Because thanks AOL, Time Warner. But it was at least I think in the floppy era that would have been like the 20 free hour kind of stuff way back when. Because by the time CDs were cheap enough and like, did you hear that?
What was that?
Did.
It was the FBI, like
Coming for you, Joe.
coming in again. But the I think by that time it would have been
I think it's AOL coming after Ron.
That's probably it. They heard I was going to go over to CompuServe, and this was their last ditch chance.
Oh,
It's all those Prodigy users in the chat. But now that
I
was my
kicked you out of the chat for a minute. Did you get the joke?
you didn't feel it.
No, because he was gone. He didn't even know.
Yeah, how would I know?
He kept talking.
Yep.
If he's not in the chat, he doesn't exist.
Nope. Well, Ron, I hope you saved all those and gave them to Jason Scott because I know he collects those. So
Really? I may still have some at work.
yeah,
Because
you should. Yeah, no, he put them
I'd
all
love
up
to
on
reach out.
he put them up on the Internet Archive. All those AOL.
every version of AOL.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's crazy. It's like the Jerry Maguire, like where they were collecting all the Jerry Maguire VHS tapes. I would just love to see a huge collection of those AOL CDs and floppies and all that type of stuff. It is jokingly, people do like to kind of joke on it a lot, but it is kind of a big part of history that was like just everybody trying to get you over to their service. Like Geek with Socials because of chat, like Quantum Link and all that. You know, if you've got some Quantum Link floppies or something, those would be worth something to the right collector.
Yep.
I mean, not to me, but
On a related side note, we're going to delve into the not safe for children area. Do you guys remember the 30-day free trial antivirus CDs that came in a suspiciously wrapped foil wrapper?
Nope.
Yep.
No. Yep.
I remember.
Okay.
Although,
All right.
I remember
is this because it
Moses
was
too,
labeled
so-
as something else to obfuscate what was really on the disc?
No, it's just the fact that it looked like a gigantic condom.
Oh,
Antivirus, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get
yeah.
it?
Okay, I
Yep.
get
Now
it.
you got it.
Trying to rip that off of
And
there.
you know, we got those in the shop sometimes at the repair shop. We're just like, no, just don't, just no.
See, I was kind of thinking you were going a different direction because I used to work for a company that actually started online as a place that sold blue CD-ROMs to people that had the like image sets and little 12 frame per second movies and stuff like that on it. I worked for a place. I didn't work on that side of the business, but I do remember over here on the phone calls of people that would call in because they were like if it, you know, does it have this? And there were people that were like, oh yeah, it's got that.
So you
Meet me out back at 10 p.m.
I mean, well, it was just we were at that point in the game where people were just kind of like, I don't know. I got to know for sure what's going to be. And now it's the internet of filth. So it's just whatever.
Ron, were you working both sides of the camera?
No, we didn't produce any content. They just resold other
Oh,
people's
sure.
content. And
Don't
I
produce
actually
any
worked for a
content.
different part of the business. So I would occasionally go by and hear the stories of people that would call that were like very, like at first we're very kind of like, I don't know where the limit is of what we can talk about in this phone call. And then it just went straight to like Phil flying and filth, you know, it's just whatever.
Well, you know, the porn industry was the reason why we have Blu-ray.
Oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
They voted for that standard, and that was it.
Yeah. It's like a lot of things.
Yeah, let's. What's the next topic, Joe?
Moving on.
Quick.
Questions.
Questions, yes.
Questions. I've only gotten one question from chat. Come on, chatters. Give us some questions so we can do things.
Well, they're all members of Tinker Different. So they've had every question already answered.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me specifically, Adam McG, Joe, can you repair or release a power supply or know someone who can? I'm going to put it this way. Probably not. Only because I don't have a Lisa stick it. Now, if you want to send me the whole Lisa with it.
I was going to say, Holdentosh is working on one right now.
I'll do it for free.
Adam in the chat, he's working on a Lisa PSU.
Well, he's the one who asked.
Oh, that's
because his is
busted. Who asked?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought he had a bad oh gosh, it's late. Not really. But I thought he had a bad transformer or something on that, is what he diagnosed it to. Maybe not.
Not sure. He didn't say. Yeah, no. Power supplies are voodoo because that's the analog domain usually. It's like analog circuitry and RF circuitry is just like angry pixies come in and slightly or different type of angry pixies come out the other side. Mm-hmm. And what happens in between is this magical quantum black box where, like, if you look at it wrong, the angriness changes and then it breaks whatever's attached to it. So that's not really, I'm more of a digital electronics. Once it comes out of the power supply, I'm good. Because then I can hook a scope up to it or something to see what it's doing. But yeah.
Chris, do you do any work on the analog stuff like power supplies and monitors?
Not so much. I mean, I've done a little bit with monitors, but even there, I mean, it's a little scary, right?
Yeah, it is.
Just sort of pray that you're.
I think I got this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I got heck from my dad for blowing a hole through a wall when I was fixing a television, and I didn't know about. I didn't properly short out the tube and threw me across the wall, broke the drywall or gyprock, whatever they're calling it in the US. And I got more trouble for breaking the wall than getting hurt. So that was it.
Yeah.
The good old days where you'd have linear power supplies in your external enclosures and things like that. I remember one time I was working on this Rodyme drive, and I guess the transformer wasn't like 100% like like screwed down, and it kept moving. I moved the drive, and the transformer moved, and I was like, "Oh, well, let's just fix that." Just grabbed it, and I was like, "Yeah, my hand doesn't work anymore."
Ow.
I was just like very excited for a second because I was like, I just had one hand in it, so that's you're gonna be okay. So I just had one hand in it, but I could not do anything about my muscles, and I at least knew enough that you don't reach in with your second hand to try to do anything. Even though if you do have it shorted pretty good, the chances you're gonna get something across your chest is lower. But I was like, oh, the rest of my arm works. So I just like pulled my arm up, and so the transformer just comes up and landed in the case and just dead short, like huge spark.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the last time I did that.
Nice.
It was a one and done.
A couple people actually had really interesting comments regarding that power supply in the Lisa. About somebody to Tom Barber mentioned it, reaching out to Tech Knight on 68K MLA because he knows about that stuff, and there were a couple other comments about replacing the individual voltages or having a Meanwell power supply that puts out the right voltages that you put in the Lisa. That's a little that may or may not work. It might, but the Lisa's got that soft power situation going on, and you'd have to know how that functions. In conjunction with the power supply, whether it's controlled post power supply by like a little sense relay circuit, or if it's if the power supply is integrated digitally with the rest of the system, kind of like an ATX power supply out of a modern PC. So, I mean, if you want it to be on all the time, I suppose that might work. I'm not sure. I'm not a Lisa expert. Again, the barrier to entry on anything Lisa is like at 10,000 feet. So, yeah.
Joe, you need to sell some of these things that Javier is sending you, and you probably have enough cash to just go ahead and pick up that Lisa.
I'm sure.
Javier, you didn't need that stuff back, right?
I mean, you're not out anything. It's not your stuff. So
yeah, possession is 9/10. Yeah, I have it now. It's mine, buddy.
Mine.
John Maltz mentioned he stopped his heart for 10 seconds working on a PCAT power supply back in the day. Where's that ticking coming from? Zap. Yeah, I've been there too. I was working on an old AT based machine. It has the clicky power switch. It's got that power lead that extends through the chassis and back forth. And there's 110 on that lead.
Yeah.
I was doing something with the front of the machine. It was off, but it was plugged in. Put my thumb directly across the back of that switch. And didn't have a thumb. Yeah, that was nice. That was delicious.
There's a lot of those Chinese,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a lot of those Chinese clone cases in the 90s that did not put any sort of insulation over those spade lugs that would go up over the ATX. Because you've got, you're right. You've got 110 to the front of the case. And I remember going over to somebody's house and I put my hand on top of the computer and I was like, nope. I was like, what the hell's going on? And they were like, oh yeah, it won't turn on. And I was like, you've got a 110 short or something here. So unplug the machine. And sure enough, something had backfed just enough. And it was like a very narrow, and I can't even remember who made the case, but it's like a Chinese clone case. And it had backed up just enough that like the rear end of that spade lug was touching the outside of the case. So that was a very exciting repair that day. They were excited that it was fixed, and I was excited that I was still there.
You didn't cross over to the other side, huh?
No, I didn't.
Geek with Social Skills asked us, how much wood would woodchuck chuck if woodchuck could chuck wood?
I mean, have you priced lumber recently? Come on.
Yeah,
what type of question is this?
Woodchucks are in nature. They get the lumber for free.
They know
it's us,
guy.
It's us mere mortal humans who have to pay, $87 for a single 2x4x8.
Yeah, it's crazy prices.
I mean, Javier. I mean, how much did it cost for that little piece of wood to fix that joystick? Was that about $5 or $6?
It was a piece of wood that I had at home.
Yeah, but how much it cost? Like $20?
It got me like 3 hours in my drill moving like.
Did you buy it on eBay?
Yeah.
I would have at least got it appraised before you used it. I just these days that's
just do yourself a favor. Don't type in looking for wood on your browser, okay?
No.
You'll be in trouble. Right, Ron?
Yeah, hot wood joysticks, not what you want to look for. That's gonna get you. That's gonna not.
Oh, man.
Well, I don't know, man.
Oh,
I'm not
boy.
gonna yuck somebody else's yum. So I
I started to stream with a bunch of kids. Javier should sell wooden joystick buttons on eBay. There you go. Thanks, Herb.
Yeah.
He should. Ooh, like artisanal sort of buttons for your Apple joystick. It's an untapped market. And we are in late stage capitalism. So now
Don't
is
start
the
me
time.
because I want to do now I want to make a wood joystick,
Yep.
the whole thing.
That's what you should do.
I may do it, yeah.
That would be nice.
Michael Mulhern. Javier's new brand, Big Woody.
That's it.
Bring out the 14-year-old in you.
That's right.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I can tell Chris is not impressed with our channel. He's way too quiet.
I'm just glad this isn't like Kansas Fest and there's no code of conduct that we have to worry about, right? It's like the bane of our existence.
The only code we have here is you have to wear a hat.
Yeah.
And clothes are optional, whatever.
Don't give Ron any ideas.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We talked about that before we started.
Guys,
weren't gonna
just like
tell
you,
Ron.
I'm completely nude under my clothes.
Way too much information.
I have a veneer of presentability.
Yeah, we don't want to see your floppy drive. Don't worry about it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to bring up another topic.
You better.
Folks, again, questions. Give us questions. Emulators versus real hardware. Whose idea was that one? Rudy, go. What do you think?
No.
I mean, emulators is great. I mean, I've played a lot of them for different platforms. I built a Raspberry Pi box that emulates the Apple II, the Commodore 64, Atari 2600, all kinds of stuff. It's neat and stuff, but I still feel it takes away from the experience of having, the vintage hardware to play it on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a 2600 in a box, and it's just so cool to open it up, plug it in, and get the cartridges, play your games, feel the experience how it was designed back then, or your 2 Plus or your Mac. Like when I got my Color Classic, like, wow, this is so cool. I can, do all these neat things, and things don't work, and look into it. On the emulator, kind of, for me, it kind of steals away that enjoyment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devil's advocate here. Everybody's favorite character, by the way. I would say that emulators have their place.
Yeah.
In that it opens up our hobby to a lot of people, especially
Yes.
younger people, who may not necessarily have the financial resources to get in on the game any other way. So, and they could download Sheep Shaver, they could download Mini VMAC, they can download DOSBox, they can download any number of emulators for other platforms. MAME, which now has cores for like everything under the sun. It lets people kind of have those experiences with maybe that they don't have all the bucks to do some of those things. But it's changing a lot too, in that there seems to be the shift from emulation to simulation, thanks to the DE10, or people call Mr. platform, where now you've got those cores that are simulating that original hardware. So you have a much truer to the actual sort of experience, but much in the same way that every person here, I mean, you can raise your hand if it's not true, but when you were young, you were probably a pirate. And you could not, because you couldn't afford the software. But now that you're older and established, you make it a moral point to support projects
Mhm.
and to pay for things and to buy stuff, and even to go back, even on the secondary market, and fill in the holes in your collection with the things that you loved when you were young. So you can say, like, you know, I kind of made good on that. So I think that emulators definitely help young people and people starting out, or people that are like, I don't know that I can make this hardware. I don't know that I can buy a Tandy 1000 EX. I don't know that I can afford that, but I could certainly play around with DOSBox or something and just maybe get a little flavor of that. And then if I'm really in, make that investment.
Well, it's also good for if you're programming or developing code. Like,
Exactly.
you know,
Development.
I wrote some. I wrote a program that checks your CPU and tells you which type of the 6502 is in it for the Apple. And I didn't have my Apple. My computer was unplugged and away or whatever. So as I'm working away, I just brought up the emulator, programmed that. It worked great. I just copied it to my what's it called, my floppy disk, and it worked. And it was easier to troubleshoot the code on my computer than it is on the actual original hardware.
You
Same
can
thing.
use
I
modern
found
tools, copy and
some,
paste into the emulator,
right?
Run
yeah,
it, turn the emulator up to 1,000 to run it fast. Yeah.
I found some articles that's from neat basic programs, for example, or programs for the Z80 computer. And I go to the article, I download it, I highlight it, copy paste into emulator. Works well, great. If not, I fix it and then save it as a file.
Yeah.
And now it's ready to go. But to sit there and type everything, it's going to take hours. This way, you're saving time. That's all. But I mean, there's another good reason why you want emulators.
Yeah.
Plus anti-emulator. I prefer, like, when I'm playing a game, to sit on the actual hardware, or if I'm, you know, if I want to.
Hopefully you don't sit on it, like on it.
Yeah, right on it.
Like, we're gonna call we're gonna call you the hen.
The hen.
The head.
Yes.
Egg simulator. Yeah. I would say that just like how you're saying about, like, oh, it's a time saver. I did some stuff recently to kind of prep, or like a kind of a how-to on getting the Blue SCSI kind of up and running, like, as quickly as possible. And you definitely want to use emulators for that, just because no offense, but it is a chicken and the egg, not to go back to Rudy's new sort of alias, but
everybody's
it's a chicken and the egg sort of thing, where it's like, there are so many. I don't know how this happened on Macintosh Garden, but it's like one of those things where it's like, Stuff at Deluxe or Stuff at Expander, it's arged, or it's WinZipped, damn it. It's it's a compressed. So how do I uncompress the compressed thing so that I can make all this stuff happen? So there's a lot of horse cart kind of things that kind of go on in our community that emulators certainly kind of grease the wheels on getting some of those things done. So it's very nice to be able to do a 761 install in about 45 seconds instead of about 45 minutes on real hardware.
We have a question from the comments. Who still owns their actual childhood machines? Raise your hand.
Me. It's right behind me. Right there.
Yep. You don't, Javier. Why not? What's your sad story?
My mom threw away my Apple IIc that had what's this called? Senior Prom. Sorry. I got a Senior Prom inside an Apple IIc. That's rarer than chicken feet or whatever it's called, chicken teeth. and she just threw it away. And I was like,
sorry.
You still talk to her?
No, and I was a very sad pirate. I just copy stuff. I never cracked anything with that card, but I wanted to have it. It sounded cool, and I got it. But never cracked anything.
Yeah, I sold my first computer when no one wanted to really do much with 2+ anymore. I was getting to all the IBM stuff, and I sold it to a kid who his house was hit by lightning. He started a fire, and they lost a lot of stuff, including their Apple. And so I had one left, which was mine, and I gave it to the kid, and he was, he's all excited about, he was crying and all that. And it's like, don't cry. You can make all the diskettes all soggy. Like, just take it and go, right? So
You're gonna ruin the labels, kid. Come on.
you get mold on the diskettes in 40 years. Like, don't do that. So, that, and then same thing with all the other computers I've had. I don't really keep the old stuff, although I wish I did. I have an actual Apple II Plus clone, which is almost identical to the one I had, but the one I actually purchased, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have my original Apple II right there. It's used as a test unit to test hardware out because you turn it on, it goes beep, and it works.
It works.
It's like a tank. I have shorted that power supply out so many times.
Mm-hmm.
It still has the original supply in it with the original Reefa caps.
Nice.
I'm waiting. I am just waiting for that wonderful Reefa scent to grace my shop. But I can't break it. I can't kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I do to it, it's like, bring it on! So it's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing Apple did really, really well was their power supplies.
Yep.
I've only
They did
repaired
everything really, really well.
I've only repaired one Apple power supply in my whole life, and I've done literally, like when I was younger, obviously, but a lot. But I've literally 200 or plus Apple II computers I've fixed, and back in the day, and only one power supply.
Mm-hmm.
They're really solid, and no fan. They get warm, but they don't really blow up.
Well,
I've never had.
they didn't back in the day.
Well, yeah.
And even now, the reefer will blow and it'll still run. So it's like,
It'll still work. It just stinks.
Well, you don't like the smell of like fried mushrooms and fish chips? You don't like that?
Who doesn't like burnt reefa caps first thing in the morning?
Yum.
I still have my my 4 Plus, or my Plus 4 rather.
Commodore?
From when I was a kid, because my parents, they my mom and my stepdad, they loved going to timeshare stuff for the giveaway.
Yeah.
And so they went to a timeshare, and it was like literally, it was like at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, something like that. It was like this hotel, and it was like I hung out at the hotel for like 8 hours. And finally, my parents kind of came out and they were like, let's go. And it was like the timeshare people are kind of chasing us outside. and we get in the car, and my mom was like, it was like, here, this is for you. And it was the 4 or the Plus 4. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And so I like tons of just like Rainbow Magazine and just type of program stuff like that. But they were all excited that it had like word processor and the database program and all that stuff in it. But we never made the investment in the tape drive. so it was like you did it right then and there.
How come we turn it off? My Word document's gone.
Oh my gosh. I'd have friends come over and we would you would type the program and you play the game like all weekend. And then before school on Monday, you'd turn it off. But that somewhere floating around, probably in my stuff, there are Polaroids of like programs that you run and it would do something or it would draw something on the screen. And I would you take a Polaroid of the screen for that was the backup of whatever that program was.
Taking pictures of the code.
Yeah. Well, no, taking pictures of the execution. So, but that's probably, those Polaroids are probably gone. But that machine is back at my parents in the attic. So, yep.
Talking about original equipment, what's the oldest equipment that you have? Could be like, like a soldering iron or a computer or a T-shirt. That's this area related, like retro computing related. That you
me,
other than yourself.
Oh, okay. It's actually related to a question somebody asked that I have on the screen here. Oldest piece of...
At work, we have like some IBM mainframe stuff that we've just kept that were like 10 megabyte sort of modules that you would go like a platter, like a stack of platters that you would ingest into the mainframe. That's
ingest. It's just
ingest. So no, I think that's what they called the machine. It was the ingester
Ingester.
that would pull all these platters in. It was like 10 megabytes of storage or something like that.
I have my original, it still works, my original Weller soldering iron that I bought in 1982.
Nice.
And it still works. And I can still
wow.
buy tips for it.
Yeah.
And I also have my last original spool of solder
Ooh, nice.
with
The
lead.
old logo.
With lead.
Because it's good
Yeah.
for you.
So that reminds me, there was a somebody I worked with many years ago, and he always said, "Never lick the metal bits." And I asked him why, and he's like, it's really hard for me to say what the oldest thing I have in my collection is. Most of my stuff is actually about the same age. I don't know. It might be now if we're talking about design, not necessarily the actual age of the machine itself, because a machine may have like a 10-year lifespan. The oldest design thing I have is probably an Apple II Plus, because then that come out around 79 or so.
Yep.
I don't think I have any machines that are older than that. The next one might be my Apple III, because that's from like 81.
I got a TI-99 4A. That's older, isn't it?
The 99 4A?
Yeah.
That was 81, wasn't it?
That's I think it came out the same time the PET.
I think so, because that's the first computer I had. And then I had an Apple
June
II.
1981.
Oh, so then no.
The 4A or just the 4? Because the 4 came out. Yeah, the 4 came out earlier. It came out in 79.
Okay.
Yeah. If you talk about oldest computer, I have a Commodore PET 4032. It's called the FAT 42 or 32 because it's got the wide screen. Back then, the monitors on the PETs, they're attached, and I think there were 9 inches, and this one is, I believe it's 11 or 12-inch monitor. That's
Braggart.
79. But I meant in general, it can be a computer, it can be a tool, it can be what's the oldest thing that you have that you work with still or enjoy. Chris, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna. So I have this I don't know if you can see. It's a Poly Ranger voltmeter.
Wow,
Ooh.
wicked cool.
So let me see. 1955.
Wow.
So actually,
Nerd.
yeah, this was not mine when I was. I'm not that old, but yeah,
Bought it the day that Sears Roebucks opened in my town.
It was in the catalog. No,
Actually,
actually, I got it from the physics department at CU Boulder. They were just getting rid of all this stuff, and
Really?
they must have just used it for back in the day. So that's probably about the oldest piece of tech that I've actually used.
That's really cool show and tell.
Yeah.
Javier, how about you?
Well, I thought it was a TI-99, but you know what I have very, very old?
I was looking because upstairs I have a rotary dial telephone. Yes,
Zippo.
I still use it. It's connected
What's
to a
that,
Bluetooth
pack of
thing that
salt?
connects to my phone.
Oh,
Pack
it
of
was a
cigarettes.
Zippo.
What is this?
What is that? A pack of cigarettes?
It's a Sperry
Zippo?
Univac lighter.
Is it from that time period?
Yeah, it's from that time period.
Is this you start the pilot on the Univac and then just kind of get it all together?
Gets the boiler going.
Actually, yeah, but I like it because my dad used to work at Univac. That's why I like that brand.
Cool.
Very cool.
You use it to debug the code.
Literally.
Literally.
Well, that's what it was. That's what debugging is all about, right? Back in the day, they had, roaches and whatever else that would end up inside the computers because they were hot. And they had to debug them, so they pull them all out and burn them and smoke them and whatever, cook them.
Ripnick Racing has said this has turned into a show and tell session.
Yep.
I'm okay with that as long as it stops at the computers.
Ron,
Mike
what about
Bulmer.
you?
You know what? I really don't have a lot of old stuff. I used to have some things, but some of it I was just like, it's taking up a lot of space. So I had a lot of like those single voltage kind of meters and things where to be like, it's 12 volts or something. I donate a lot of that to people that were like, believe it or not, like prop replica people, because there's just so much of that, especially in the 70s, that's the stuff that would have been in junk shops. So they need all these old, Frankenstein throw switches, and things like that. So a lot of that stuff I've just kind of donated. But at work, I do have kind of like a mini museum of stuff from the university when we had a mainframe. And so I have some of those like mainframe, like little portable data, backups and things like that we had. I've got our old director who passed away kind of suddenly, but I mean, he's been gone 20 plus years, but I have his old 3270 terminal and things like that, just that
cool.
We've kind of kept just, out of nostalgia and all. So, yep. I don't know. Nothing really all that old anymore that I'm just hanging on to. I mean, I'm 45, so that's all I can do is to keep myself together.
You're a spring chicken, yeah.
Gosh, we keep coming back to chickens and hens and eggs. What the heck is with this? We're going to just call this the chicken strip.
No,
it's a Roundup.
Sponsored by the Egg Council.
Yes.
Herding chickens.
Sponsored by KFC. Where chickens go moo.
Chickens go moo. Well, I think we kind of run out of things in the in our planned list of things to talk about. We had some viewer questions. I think we've answered a lot of those. Not a lot of how do you fix that or whatever questions this time.
Because everybody who comes here fixes their own stuff.
Yeah,
Not like Javier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. I had to throw that in.
I'm the one who breaks them. Somebody
But
has
if you don't break them, Joe won't have anything to fix.
I mean,
That's right. And I like the smoke.
You see a mushroom cloud, Joe goes, "Oh no, something else to fix."
Exactly.
I
Something
couldn't
coming
agree.
from Javier.
and I'm just like silent.
Another one bites the dust.
No, that's the dust.
So, who else your favorite place to get parts from?
It used to be AliExpress until everything became fake.
Yeah. I use
Mhm.
Mouser.
Yeah, Mouser is my go-to now.
Digi, what's it called? Digi.
DigiKey?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I also use
Gemco.
Gemco.
Yeah.
Jamco. Yep.
So between those or some stuff locally, I don't know.
Yeah.
I usually buy other computers and rape them and take their parts and put them in the other computer and say, here you go, it's all fixed.
I used to have an electronics place nearby, but they closed. So now it's that or Amazon.
Yeah.
Yep.
I found
There's a really cool source that I like to use for sockets and adapters and plugs. It's PE Electronics, Phoenix Enterprises. Let's say a 14-pin dual wipe socket. Anywhere else is like 40 cents. From there, it's 4 cents.
Wow.
4 cents.
But you buy them in bulk, right, Joe?
Yes.
So, you like
So
10,000
the shipping then
units?
divides over, and it makes sense. So, if you're doing a lot of repair, oh my gosh, that's really the place to get those things. Just, a tenth of the price is outstanding. And they've got really cool things that are hard to find anywhere else, like 34-pin male sockets to go on IDC ribbon cable with the crimp the thing so that you can create extension cables for
neat.
floppy drives or the internal ribbon cables for keyboards on the old computers and stuff. So when you're working on it, you can have these stuff splayed out of the way and still get access to the board. Things like that. A 45-degree angle, 30-pin SIM sockets.
Oh, cool.
So the next time you need to repair like an old SE board or something, if the socket is destroyed, just cut the freaking thing out. You can just buy a new socket and shove it in there. So, and it has metal clips, not plastic ones, so they don't break.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely check them out.
Tom Barber's asking, what's the name of the place again? It's PE Connectors. PE Connectors.
PT Barnum?
PT Barnum, yes. It is that. So, what's the schedule for the show, Geek with Social Skills? I put that question up there, and I've just left it stuck there so we wouldn't forget it. We are on Sunday nights every 2 weeks. We don't do it every week yet because we're still working out how often we can all come together to do this. We're all pretty busy people. But every other Sunday at 8 p.m. on the YubTubs, 8 p.m. Eastern. Whether it's daylight or standard, depending on which time zone crap the government in the United States decides to do it. So, yeah.
Hey, Adam is asking about chips.
Adam's asking about chips. Where's Adam's question? I'm looking for it so I can highlight
where to get the memory?
Ripple chips or plain?
Chips.
Yes. There it is. Yes, thanks, Adam. Thanks for reminding me. Where to get 4164 and 41256s? Honestly, I get them in bulk from eBay.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want them reliable, Jameco is a good source.
Yeah, that's why I get mine.
Last time I looked, they still had like 400 4164s in stock. But they're kind of expensive. But on the flip side, if you get it from Jameco, it's going to friggin' work and be a real chip from 1984 because they have a warehouse full of old stock that's just sitting there that's just been sitting there.
Yeah.
This is evident by the fact that I get stuff shipped from them that in those trays that have obviously been sitting in the California sun for 40 years because they're yellower than the stuff that Javier fixes.
I've got a few of those too.
But yeah, I actually just bought like 100 4164s off eBay for like $80. And even if half of them are dead, it still costs less than buying them from Jameco. And then I like to do that and only go back to Jameco when I really, really have to, because I know that once Jameco runs out of 4164s, they won't have any anymore.
Yeah.
They're not going to be, because they're not being made anymore. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, other questions? Mike Mulhern says he thought I used bits from Javier's electronics junket store.
Oh man.
You guys just stop making fun of the guy. Javier's so nice. Stop it.
Yeah.
He gives me things to do.
They solder shame me, and now they chip shame me?
Yes.
Well, if it's not you, we have to bug Ron then, right? He's too quiet.
Vintage Hillbilly Shack said, did you want to take on the JVC MFM thing? He talked about this on the last stream. I think he might have brought it on. Maybe you and I were on Maciac and he brought it up in the chat there too. Maybe. Basically, there's this company that makes a product that will emulate the MFM drive in a JVC something or other.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like $400. And the question is, so how in the heck do we get one of those where it's actually usable and not costing, $400? And the answer is, well, we reverse engineer the gosh darn thing. I don't have enough hardware or experience yet myself to make one of those things from scratch. I might be able to reverse engineer an existing one, but it depends on how it was designed by the original company.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those things are designed with GAL chips or CPLDs or whatever that have been fuse locked so you can't dump them. And that's really where all the magic sauce is in that custom logic chip. Mm-hmm. I can clone boards until I'm blue in the face, but if we don't have the software or that logic, that state machine, it's just a piece of fiberglass with green printed on it. Mm-hmm. So that's really the thing. So to answer his question, no, not right now. Maybe in 5 years when I'm more up to speed.
Joe, that would be a good video suggestion for you, is to, take a small board or small project and show everyone how you get that physical board, how you take it apart, scan it, and make a new board from that
Yeah,
to help others reverse engineer stuff. That might be,
Yep.
I'd watch that.
good idea.
Yeah. Go ahead and have that on our desk by Tuesday.
Yeah.
Ron. Yeah. No.
Thanks.
I think I think it'd be a fun thing to
It's
go.
really
It doesn't have to
tricky
be. You can do a live stream, but you can also just do it recorded. I think it'd be kind of.
I brought
very
it up a couple
educational.
times on live streams. It's not really a difficult process. The most time consuming process is there's really two halves to it. One, I mean, I'll just discuss it now. You take the board, you get a desoldering iron. Well, before you do that, you meticulously write down every component value and every location where it's silk screen on the board and create a bill of materials. Because once you take them out, you don't know where they went. Especially if you're like me and you're working this one thing and you just got this bin full of stuff.
Take pictures.
Or just like that.
Yeah.
Or as you can see in our background, you take a nice high resolution picture of the thing too, and it helps you see that. And then use a solder sucker and you just suck everything out of the board. You got to get the board completely flat. Now this is for 2-layer boards. Multi-layer boards are a completely different animal. But for the 2-layer boards, then what you do is once you have that done, you put it in a scanner and you scan it in at about 600 DPI, super high resolution. And then once you have that in your computer, that's both the front and the back, you bring that into a layout program.
Which one do you use?
I use Sprint Layout because it specifically has the feature that allows you to do that. And it costs like $60. It's a cheap program. It's not free, but it also doesn't cost like $800 per month like some of these other PCB design programs.
Yeah.
It also isn't a cobbled together mess of like 16 different open source programs like KiCad is. It's stable and it works and it's fast, right? And so you can import those images into the application as both the front and the back side of the board. Do the mirroring, and there's alignment you can do to just move it little bits until it aligns to the actual the lead spacing grid, which is 0.254 millimeters, a tenth of an inch. Once you got it all laid out or aligned, then you literally start drawing over the traces with the trace tool, and you put via holes with the via tool. And there are footprints where you can just grab it out of the library and put a footprint. Well, a chip goes there. And then you go to after that's done, and you can do it all at once, however you want to do it. But then you go to the silkscreen layer and retype all the little text pieces where all that goes. Once that's all laid out, you go file export, and you get the Gerber files and a drill file. And you just shoot it over to your favorite PCB place. And however long later, you got a test PCB that looks exactly like the original. Then you've got to spend 8 hours repopulating your test article.
And test it.
And then you test it. And that's where you find where you had ground and 5 volts connected together because you missed a trace. Kai Robinson, poor guy. If you all saw Bruce's live stream where he caught a board on fire because 12 volts and the ground were connected. It happens. I mean, I went through for my, what is that thing? The universal RGB adapter. I went through 3 different iterations of that stupid thing because I kept like designing the connectors backwards. But whatever.
I don't know.
And then that's it. Once it's done, it's done. And then you've got your bill of materials already set up, so you know what you need to order to build one. You've got boards. You just buy parts, shove it in there, and you're done.
So about a weekend.
Yeah, on the North Pole, where weekend is like is half a year, sure.
Yeah. It's a dying art, by the way. A lot of people I know of that are fixing whatever, like electronics of cars or computers, whatever. No one's really doing that anymore. They're just hunt for old stuff and
replacing parts.
And replacing parts. And now you're thinking about, hey, I can make a brand new one that's either the same or even better than the old one.
And that's the thing you can do with that is once you have that layout in an application, you can see what pieces connect to what. And you can actually then go into KiCad and draw out a schematic diagram and see, oh, well, we don't need that. We can replace this. Or
Yep.
in the case of the soft card, the soft card 3, it has like 18 different resistor values, which I swear is like it's like a trap town on a map. It's one of those fake towns that doesn't actually exist. That's so they can tell you they copied the map. If you look in the very upper right corner of the background here, that is a 1.1K resistor.
Yes.
It's the only one on the board, and it's like a pull-up. Why 1.1? To catch the Chinese back in the 80s, to catch the Chinese copiers, because they didn't know how it worked. They did the same thing I did. They just copied the board and relayed it out. Microsoft could say, well, that's a 1.1K. That could be any value. Anybody who knew what they were actually doing would rearrange them. But anyway.
Yep.
It's kind of like that project I was working on. I was trying to update. If you guys ever, I'm a big fan of Larry Pina with his Macintosh repair books. I back in the day, that's kind of what got me excited about actually doing some real repairs because it seemed very accessible. But he has in his book a video adapter that you can build so you can use MGA monitors with like the Mac Plus or with the SE. So he has some very simple diagrams in the book on how to convert that all out and do all that. So I drew it all up in KiCad, and had it all ready to go. And I've shown it to a number of people where I'd be like, hey, like this is kind of what my idea is and everything looks good. And then RGB to HDMI came out and it was like, oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. Forget it.
Wow.
Cool. Anyway, this is all going in the Yelp review for your online store, Joe. I may be at the character count, max character count right now. But.
Got it. Adam D says, I've got 5 different Apple II language cards that are all clones of each other, and they all have the same worthless traces that go to nowhere like the original card had. Yep. Exactly. Yep. That's like this 3 card that's on the background here. It's a mess. It's intentionally designed badly. It's just like there are traces that go across the board, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, like on other. Like if they just rearranged the chips, it would work better. And that goes back to what Rudy was saying. It's like you could use, once you have the design, you can lay it out as a schematic, then relay it out as a new PCB and get it smaller using surface mount components, or in my case, using HCT components, which, draw a quarter of the power of the original chips, and just make it a better board, more reliable, less sockets, all of that stuff. So,
Just remember, folks, HCT chips are not compatible with the 74LS.
Yeah, they are.
Some circuits you can't replace them because of the I believe it's the way they interpret signals at 3 volts.
That's HC, not HCT.
Oh, okay.
HCT is the TTL level, the 5 level compatibles. That's why I use those.
So I sit corrected.
You sit corrected?
As opposed to stand?
Yes. Okay.
Joe is technically correct.
Yeah.
The best kind of correct. Yes. You, Hermes Conrad. Okay. But,
Chris, get the forms that I need to fill out to request that Rudy be taken away.
Oh, man.
So I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
It's been 0 streams since we had a Futurama reference.
Yeah.
But yeah. Somebody was actually saying in the comments too about doing a reverse engineering. Yeah, reverse engineering of the Apple II profile card. Yeah, I mean, any 2-layer card it's time consuming, but not difficult at all to reverse engineer. Really. You just strip it and scan it and put it into the application and send it to. I use JLC PCB because they're the cheapest and fastest in my
point of view.
Whatever my
Domain.
experience.
This
Other people like Oshpark or PCBWay or whatever, but Yeah. You see, PCBWay is cheaper if you promote them, but then you can't talk about anybody else. You're not
Yeah.
allowed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have specific rules about that.
No wash
I'm
part.
sure they do.
But PCBWay is cool because they have like you can just go on. They do things that JLPCB doesn't like. You can click some buttons if you're buying PCBs and share them with the community, so other people just go click and buy a pre-designed thing. It's just out there. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a social networking PCB site. You know, so I can't fault them, but yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I did. These are adapters for the Commodore 64 to use modern EPROMs for their original EPROM. So it was just point, click, and buy, and they send it to you. It's kind of neat.
It's awful nice.
Has anyone, here's a question, has anyone actually drawn a board or made a board by hand by drawing?
Oh,
yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Especially when mod chips got really, really popular on PlayStation and things like that. Because a lot of those you would just buy. There would just be like, oh, it's just like a dip chip. And so I designed just hand drew a breakout board where basically you put a socket on a board and just have remote solder points. So you could use like a little bit of two-sided tape, inside your console and play imports, make your machine region free, all that.
Mm-hmm. Adam G says PCBWay will make Lisa-shaped cards without a crazy setup fee. That's crazy.
I mean, like the whole, like the with the undercut for like where the keyboard goes in, or sorry, compatible with the board. My mistake. Yeah, sorry.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, we had industrial electronics in high school, and we did etching and all of that stuff. And no, I didn't have access to any of that stuff. I didn't even know how to do anything with PCBs until I started watching YouTube stuff like 6 years ago. Yeah,
I used to sell an Apple II Echo card or Sam card clone, and I got out of a magazine from Europe. Couldn't read the article; it goes in German, so I actually did the trace. I looked at the schematic, kind of reversed engineered it into English, and a friend of mine had a plotter, so we got the boards, popped them in the plotter, used the pens. We replaced the pens with dry erase markers.
Ooh.
And actually drew out the board, drilled the holes, put in the solution to remove all the copper. You had your boards.
Yeah,
cool.
So we made a whole bunch like that because it was basically one-sided traces on one side of the board. So about lining up holes. It was great, and just print them off. And
that makes me think about this 3D printer technology. They're coming out with PCB. I don't know, like CNC routing technology based on the 3D printers.
Oh, cool!
Where you can mount a blank and just send it a Gerber, and it'll etch off where there's not copper, and you can get like basically instant prototypes without having to deal with the etchant solution and UV masking and all of that junk. You just like stick it in the printer, hit print, go up, have yourself a ham sandwich, come back, and you got a board, and you have got to manually drill the via holes or whatever. But then, cool stuff. Cool. Chris, you've been very quiet.
I'm just absorbing it all. It's all good stuff. So.
He keeps saying in his mind, "Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here?"
He's the cool
Joe,
person
you'll be
to
big
help
time.
anchor everything.
That's right.
I mean, he's helping like offset the rest of the crazy.
That's all good.
Well, I think we're coming up on 2 hours. Did we have anything else we wanted to chat about?
I just wanted to make sure that no matter what you and your family celebrate this time of year, that you get on it, because there's only a few days left.
Yep.
So, but don't overdo it this year. Stay safe. If you travel a lot, make sure leave yourself plenty of time to get to your destination. Don't drink and drive. Do your very best to keep other people around you safe, and have a wonderful another 5 years of 2020.
No.
5
No.
It's the
man.
year that wouldn't die.
Finally, my inability to do math has given me somewhere. Yeah, before we sign off, Chris, do you have anything cool that you're working on? Anything in the works coming up for your channel or for Nox Archaist or for any of the projects that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually I got some ideas for a new video series, maybe looking at a bunch of Apple II games and just kind of go some deep dives. And so look for that. I might start with some Broderbund titles. And other than that, just kind of keeping up the store and trying to design new T-shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on here. It was great. So.
Are you looking to maintain your Kansas Fest Choplifter 4 megahertz World Championship title?
Absolutely. Yeah, nobody's gonna take that away.
Ken gave you a run for your money, though.
He did. No, but in the end, yeah, I got him.
That's a little Kansas Fest 2019 inside joke.
That's amazing.
I'd
Cool.
buy that for $1.
Yeah. That's why I'm really pulling for in person this year because
Yeah.
because there's so many people that because 2019 was the first. Well, I mean, I've always kind of paid attention and saw videos kind of past presentations and things like that, and heard about like the giveaway and all the little like kind of the culture of the event. But I'd absolutely never been. But when I saw Joe's video, I was like, I've got to get to this thing.
Oh.
And then 2020 is what it is. And 2020 part 2 was what it was. And
The search for more money.
so here's hoping that 2020 part 3 will be able to hopefully be in person, because I'd love to come and meet some of the folks that I've gotten to be close friends with in the last few years. Go see those people in person. Also see potentially Javier there. Just come and have a good time. So I'm pulling for you. All fingers and toes crossed.
Keep our fingers crossed. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I like the virtual. Last year was this year was my first time going to Kansas Fest. So I didn't know it even existed before that. Until Chris told me about it.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. I took the days off of work just to be there and hang out. But obviously, being there physically is a lot more fun. I mean, it's not just the conference, it's after the conference and pre-post conference, whatever you want to call it. So, and meeting everybody. But unless things get better, it's going to be hard to get past, the border guards kind of thing.
Rudy,
right?
you put yourself in a barrel and you go over the falls.
Or do it like
They
you run.
pick you up on the American side.
Yeah.
And then you just go back up the falls to go home. Like when the event's over, you just do it in reverse.
So what you're saying is I should get a boat, get in the boat. When I get close to the U.S. border, throw my passport in the water and pretend I'm a refugee.
That's right.
No. I'm saying like you go over Niagara Falls.
Don't
So
prevent
you
don't,
just
yeah. You can't pretend
Oh,
you're
so you're
refugee.
saying
You'll never
come
get it.
down and do it UPS parcel.
yeah.
Like go to
There
the
you go.
box,
Mhm.
come there, and
Just-
ship myself back with
Just
all my
right on the box.
Apple
Just
stuff.
say
Put
biological
that
materials.
Canadian bacon, and that's it. They'll let you in.
Or maybe Joe, you can 3D print me there. I'll just
There you go. I got to get started on that now. That's going to take a while to print you.
the top part is easy to do.
That's right. Round.
I have to, hold on. Do I have polish?
You make a Rudy out of 100% like primitives.
Yeah.
Just start with the head. We got it.
You got the head.
First
That's all
try.
you need. Yeah. We'll put a SAM card inside, with a little Apple II emulator. We'll pop it inside of the head.
There you go.
It could talk like this. Nice to be here at Kansas Fest.
Awesome. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about tonight?
None. I'm just gonna be doing the same thing as Chris, and actually maybe I'm gonna do again another round of Pascal posters. So I see that they're.
As long as people aren't stealing them and reselling them on eBay.
You saw that?
Mhm.
Well, maybe I can sell them for the same amount.
There you go.
Ooh, there you go.
5
that's
cents
polka dot
less.
theory, man.
5 cents less.
Polka dot theory helps you out every time.
Yeah, polka dots. I'll ask him. No, I'm gonna do them just to, silence those people because I'm pissed of that. But we'll do that.
Cool.
Other than that, happy holidays, guys.
Yes.
Happy holidays and
holidays.
yeehaw.
Be safe. Be good.
Be gentle
You
to
can't
each
be
other.
good and safe. Just don't get caught.
Yeah.
It's not a crime until you get caught.
There you go. Well, before we sign off, I'm going to let everybody who stopped in to visit us tonight. I wanted to let you know thanks for stopping in. Remember to lasso that like button, whip that bell, make it go ding, and some Western thing with the subscribe button. I don't know. I couldn't come up with something. And we'll see you all again in 2 weeks in the new year.
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
Thanks,
guys.
Chris, for stopping
It was
by.
fun.
Don't forget.
Yeah,
Don't forget.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chris.
Don't
All right,
forget.
take care.
Y'all come back now.
Happy
I hear.
holidays.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.
Happy holidays.